So today we need to talk about the shell method just a little bit more. Yesterday we only rotated about the X and the Y axis. That's it. We didn't rotate about any other horizontal or vertical lines. So that's what we need to do today. Now, I have a picture that you're not going to draw because that's not going to, it's not going to work. Okay. You do you. I don't know. If we're talking about the setup of our volume, okay, we talked about 2 pi integral of radius times height times thickness, okay, of the 2 radius and height. If we rotate about something that's not the y-axis, we're talking about dx first, what's going to change, the radius or the height? The radius is going to change, okay? The radius is going to change. So before, when we were rotating about the y-axis, we said, okay, this distance right here was x, okay? Well, now we have to keep in mind that we're not going to the y-axis. So like in this case right here, we're rotating about the line x equals a. So in this case, our radius, how would we describe this radius right here? If this is x equals a, it would be a minus x. Okay. Now, if our vertical line was to the left of our region, then we would have to do x minus a, which would turn into an addition because a would be negative. Okay, so we are going to look at setting these up when our line is not an axis. Okay. Sometimes it's better to just not ask the question. Okay. I don't know how many of you were pencils moving. Kylie, are you doing or? I'm just. I hope I don't laugh. You hope your mom doesn't what? And maybe talking about it during calculus class is not your best choice. Okay. Nobody will be watching this video next year.
No, she's gonna miss this day on purpose.
I won't be teaching this class.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. You'll never know, will you? What? Obviously. So we have x equals 0. Y equals 0. And y equals 4 minus x squared. Does that seem about right? Where is that parabola intersecting the positive x-axis? What? Okay. Well, before we got our Google account, I was using my personal account, and that would go back all the way to 2013. Okay, we got this drawing written down. Okay, so the whole point of this is to use the shell method, right? Now let's talk about pros and cons, okay? If we use the disc washer method, don't draw this, but if we use the disc washer method, then we would have to go in terms of y. Some of us don't find joy out of converting everything to x equals, okay? So let's use the shell method. The shell method does allow for us to stick with dx. Okay. So for our shell method, we have 2 pi integral of radius times height times thickness. Now our height is not going to change. It's still the height of the rectangle. Top minus bottom, this rectangle has height 4 minus x squared minus 0. I'm not going to write the minus 0. He's ready. Okay. Now, let's talk about how far away our rectangle is from the axis of rotation. Okay. How far away is this distance right here? 2 minus x. Now let's talk about why x minus 2 is incorrect. Since 2 is on the right, it has to come first, right? We're still in the right minus left, top minus bottom stage of life, okay? So since 2 is on the right, it has to come first, 2 minus x. Okay, our limits of integration, our region begins at 0 and ends at x equals 2. All right, go ahead and math 9 that for me.
Yeah.
20 thirds pi, 40 thirds pi. Whose birthday? Your birthday? Yeah. Happy birthday. The big 1-8?
Yeah. Since it's her birthday, we should all be.
Did you bring us all candy for her birthday?
Don't you have a candy bucket?
Okay, now If you got 20/3 and you can't figure out why you didn't get 40/3, what did you forget? The 2. Okay, so my suggestion to you is to put the 2 with your math 9, so then you only have to check on the pi. Okay. You're just glad you don't have a boring calculus teacher. Okay, here we go. Next one. We're gonna make a bundt cake. And one's left. Okay. Lots of it. Hey, we've taken this a little too far.
I didn't say that.
Whoa.
I have a question. F of x equals 3x minus x squared. What is it? A parabola that opens down. And how do I figure out where it is without my calculator? We have zeros at where? 3 and 0. You can factor an x out of this, and so you have x times 3 minus x, so you have your x integral. Oh, easy there. All right, so can you imagine our bundt cake? Kaylin, it's your birthday. What flavor of bundt cake is it? Vanilla. Okay. Plain. No frosting if I had my way.
Coconut frosting? What about just like the?
Oh, mix it up. Like for me, I scrape off the frosting from my cake.
Yeah, no, if it's just sugar, I understand.
Yours. Okay. You have control. Okay, so we're gonna use the shell method because the dishwasher method really is not going to be awesome. We would have to do a lot of work to get what the right function is versus the left function. I don't really want to do a lot of work. Okay. Now, our height of the bundt cake is 3x minus x squared. Our thickness is dx, but our radius is what changes. Boys, we're focusing on this problem. I said boys. Cole, what's this distance that I highlighted in green? What's this distance? X plus 1 is our radius. You can either think of it as right minus left, x minus -1, or you can think of it as this distance is x, but then we kept going one more unit. I don't care. And then please do not curse in my class. Our limits of integration are 0 to 3. Thank you. How about you go ahead and put this in math 9 for me and figure out what it is. 45 halves pi. I actually am not teaching with my answer key. So you need to check his work. Yeah?
I had tea.
So we're all gonna talk normal. And no, normal.
I had a tea party last hour. It was kind of fun. Where do you have a tea party? Huh? Like in class or just like?
I'm really excited for this one. We are going to find the volume of the solid when the region bounded by this parabola and this line is rotated about the line y equals -1. You, without me, make this graph. We'll set it up together, but you need to do the graph without me, and your calculator is not going to help you either. I'll give you one hint.
Thank you.
You're welcome, just in case. So this is a parabola that opens which direction? To the right, to the right. And it is shifted. Okay. What is this intersection right here? 1, 1. This intersection up here. 3, 2. Are you sure about that? It's y equals x, people. 4, 4. That was rough. Okay. Okay, so aren't you glad? Don't even say it, Tiernan. Are you glad that we have the shell method? Because if we only had the dishwasher method, we would have to do 2 different integrals. Boo. Okay, so we have 2 pi integral from 1 to 4. Our radius, how far away is our rectangle from, I didn't even draw my axis of rotation. Our axis of rotation is here at y equals -1. So this distance is y minus -1 or y plus 1. Then the height of our rectangles will always be right minus left if we're doing a dy. So y minus 2 squared. Now this is one I would not ever make you integrate by hand. Do you have a volume? 51 has pi. (63 over 2 pi). Gwen, let's maybe figure out what happened there. He's taking a quiz. Yeah. Right. Okay. So